Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend wherever you are around this beautiful planet of ours. And if you're in the US, happy Halloween. I hope you're staying safe with any partying that you're doing and that you are paying attention to the markets this week. This is going to be a big week in the markets. End of the month, we have the Fed meetings coming up. Next week, we have the midterm elections as well. So there's a lot of news that could send the markets into some sort of crazy volatile state. So stay tuned with the market. Now, today's video, I want to look at a specific chart, which I think could send Bitcoin maxis crying to their mothers. And this one may also be something different. Now, of course, we know in the markets that old term, this time is different, makes people lose money. But we have to be aware of some of the attitudes and the rhymings in the market. And in particular, one of the biggest cryptocurrencies, Ethereum, at this point in time. Really interesting stuff coming out for Ethereum in terms of the chart action, but not there to back it up in the news aspect like we've seen before. That's what I want to get into in today's video, as well as update the traditional markets as well. Make sure you've smashed up the like, subscribe, bell notification icon, all those things down below. I'll remind you again at the end of the video if you want to wait to see what sort of value there is in today's video. So I appreciate all of your support and I hope you're having a great time. So this is the first chart we've got here, S&P 500. Let's take a quick look at what announcements we have coming up this week. This is the forexfactory.com/calendar. If you follow my brother's channel, Michael, you know he references this every Monday morning to take a look at what the big announcements are. We're looking at the red icons right here. This is the impact on the market. If it's red, it should have a very big impact on the market. If it is USD, it's going to basically affect everyone across the world. If it is your country, like me here in Australia, this is not really going to affect anyone apart from Australians. So we're looking at a cash rate announcement coming up this week. Probably the interest rates will go up. We've got the RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, meeting on Tuesday. It doesn't affect anyone else around the world. Maybe a little bit of an increase. Our interest rates aren't that high compared to other places. Pretty standard, 2.5%. All right, the other thing we're looking at is the US stuff that's coming out this week. But the major one everyone is waiting for, the FOMC statement, the FOMC press conference, red. That is at 4 a.m. Queensland time. Of course, it's going to be afternoon for the guys in the US. So they're looking at an interest rate rise of 0.75%. That is the previous, this is the forecast, so 0.75% up for the US. This is what we've been looking at when it comes to the S&P 500 and how much this particular market has pumped since the low, the current cycle low on the 13th of October, from that low to the current price of about 12%. So, to the close, 11.7, 12%. Now, this is coming into the end of October, and so far, the month has worked out reasonably well to what our forecast was at the beginning of the month. And of course, tomorrow is going to be a new month in November. So this week, I'm going to get a November forecast video out for you guys. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Now, what we're aiming for is this move to the upside. The previous move to the upside from that low, 688 points, and about 2 months. So we're looking somewhere in mid-December, and the price is going to be about 4150 to 4200. And that's what I have here as the macro target. And so if we hit that, it's going to look pretty good. We're going to break past the 50% level of the bear market. So that's right here to this low. That's the halfway point. Breaks above that. You can see it's been used as resistance, 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 resistance. Hopefully we get that flip to the bulls. That'll also break past the bear market downtrend. And in the past, it's been used as support. So you got the 50% came in before the 50% came in. So that was before this low came in, and the market was holding up at that level. This is how great Gann was at the analysis. You could almost forecast what the low price would be. Now, we're not there yet, so maybe we go a little bit lower, but let's just see. These are usually reasonably good signs. So what we're aiming for now is that flip back to the upside going into Q4 of this year for the S&P. So that's the main thing with the traditional market so far. Like we covered in terms of the high impact announcements, we're looking for something this week and next week. And it seems like the market has been front running the interest rate decision here. Like we saw for the US, it's at 3 0.25, and they're looking for a 0.75% rate rise to 4%. And so if we get the 0.75% rate rise, it's not going to be anything unexpected to the market. And if it's less than 0.75%, then it's going to send the market even higher. So within this period, within this quarter 4 of 2022, we're aiming for a price target of above 4,200 for that, the bullish, one more signal for the bullish flip. What I see in the background of the markets is a whole lot of bullish momentum just trying to get back into the market. And if this is to occur, of course, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just playing the probabilities here. If this is to occur, then I would expect to see a whole lot of FOMO flood back into cryptocurrencies. Most importantly, or most particularly, it's going to be to Ethereum, because we've seen bigger price moves up. And I want to have a look at that, but I just want to remind you guys who are interested in our free trading seminar coming up in November to drop your details right now, top of the video description, complete this form here. You got your signups here, and then of course sign up to our alpha report as well as subscribe. So basically go down and do that form now, because entries will be closing this week. So if you want to get the free trading workshop that we're going to present so you can learn how to trade and invest as well, go and do that right now, because that will be closing very, very soon. All right, on to BTC, and just looking at this as from a macro view, just on the monthly here, support still being found at around that $20,000. And for the month of October, as a quick recap for October, we are up a little bit since previous months. So we had that Uptober. It wasn't anything overly spectacular. On the futures market, there was a lower low. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to our cycle analysis. But overall, October hasn't been that exciting for lower prices or high prices. However, it has brought a fair bit of emotion to the market, and that's what we want to see leading into the next stage of a move. And I'm thinking that November, December, like we've talked about for the prediction of October, that might give us that momentum into October. Now, if we get that momentum into October, anything within this range between 17.5 and 25.2 is still just potentially accumulation. If we break out of this zone, that could be then seen as a confirmed accumulation. However, if we break down, then this was redistribution into a lower low. So we're still not there yet, but things are looking up for the time being, especially as though we've broken out of the bear market downtrend, and the market is really trying to find some legs here along with the traditional markets. So that's what we're looking at for those support and resistance levels, and then obviously that breakout. And this bullish momentum leans over into the cryptocurrency market, most notably Ethereum. So I'm going to look at some timeframes here for ETH. I'm going to look at some volume indicators and also price targets as well. And as we have closed the week out here for Ethereum, going to the macro, which is more important than the micro for the bigger moves, we've just seen some resistance, surprise, surprise, at our 50% level of $1,600. So what I've been tracking was this particular 50% at around $1,500. That's just the weekly swing. We broke out, closed above that, nice strong volume, and we got a hit on the bear market downtrend for the first time. So now we have three data points. So you have one up here, but the market just sliced above, came back down. I'm using 1, 2, 3. This is a good sign. Eventually we will break this thing. I know a lot of people are probably expecting much further downside targets for a lot of cryptos, but this is really starting to show some of that strength. Now, our next target is $1,600. So a nice round number here, 1610 to get back above that. My flip is at 1850, which was in August. We had that big down bar that changed the behavior of the market. And then a close above this level just starts to bring more of that momentum towards Ethereum. And of course, ETH, it's the slightly higher risk, but much higher reward play than Bitcoin in the market. And I suspect we'll start to see more headlines, more news, more titles coming out about Ethereum. What I've noticed on this particular pump is that we're getting a pump, but without a strong narrative. You remember this last pump in July into August, it was just all about the ETH merge. It was all merge. And then that all just sank from the market. And the market basically came all the way back to the breakout point of that narrative. Whereas this time, you're just not hearing it the same. Of course, there are plenty of reasons why ETH is going up. You know, recently, it was on the verge of becoming deflationary if it hasn't already just become deflationary, as in there's less ETH now than at the point of the merge back in September. So ETH is dropping, which of course can bring on more demand, so higher prices, if the demand is met by the drop of supply. Okay, so as long as there's more people buying, of course, the price is going to go up. So that could be a narrative that starts to come out a lot more now to explain the move up. But we've been watching this sort of low here, and it just wasn't breaking down from that point. We're looking at 1,300 as a level of support. If it broke down, it'd get back into a much weaker position between 1,000 and 1,300. But it just was able to hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then started to make its move. So the FOMO on ETH could lead to a lot more FOMO throughout cryptocurrencies. So what I want to look at is how long will this last and what can we expect from that point? So the first thing I want to look at is just the time frames here for the previous ETH bear market from the top to one of the bottoms and then the final bottom as well. So we have 35 bars. Remember, we're on a weekly chart here. We want to look at the macro stuff, not the hourly, not the daily. This stuff will take weeks to play out. But if we can start to see some of the turns happening in the dailies, then that gives us an earlier warning signal. 35 weeks to this particular low, which happened in September, and then to the final low, which happened in December, was 48 weeks. So 4 weeks difference to a very significant low that happened in September before the final low. Now, for GAN enthusiasts, this may be our higher low for the bull market, for the start of this next section. Maybe. And what I can see here is that it is 48 bars again. So from top to the bottom, which in this case is a higher low, and if it is confirmed by breaking these upper targets here between $18 and $2,000, if we look at that $2,000 level, breaking that would then confirm this. This would then indicate we have a much stronger ETH than last cycle. So last cycle, it broke down from that point, from around that 30 week to the 40 to 50 week, right? This time we had the low in at 31 weeks and the higher low forming at around 48 weeks. So this could then lead to ETH being much stronger based purely on the data that we're seeing here from the chart. The fact that ETH is getting bought up at higher lows than what it had done previously to that low. Now, none of this is confirmed just yet. We need a break above the $2,000 level to get on board with that. And what I'm looking at there is the monthly swings. So that's what I'm really taking into account here for that break above, okay? That then leads over to Ethereum BTC, which of course is just going to replicate similar data, but you can see it on one chart, meaning that you're going to have some strength in BTC. That's what we're seeing at the moment, some shorter term strength, smaller ranges, so less profits. ETH, we're potentially getting that stronger move to the upside. You can see that we're trying to form this base above the previous all-time highs and that the closing level. So we just bring this out. You can see that those closes were around 1,100. The market basically hit 1,100, closed at 1,070. The next month bounced really clear above that, and now it's trying to make higher lows above that previous all-time high. So that's a pretty good sign. As I said, nothing is confirmed, but this is what you need to see in the earlier stages to get that understanding and that confirmation of a stronger move ahead. You'll know for your own analysis and investing that the strength is still there. The underlying macro strength is still there. So while everyone else is sort of flustering around, oh, it's coming back down again, it's going to go to $300, $400, you know that while this is still in play, that is the macro strength signal. The news won't know it. The major social media accounts won't know it. Major headlines won't know it because they don't follow charts and they don't look at strength from buyers and sellers. The smart money is showing us in the chart, providing this holds up. This is what we're starting to see on this particular chart too. You can see the strength in Ethereum versus Bitcoin, which is getting very much back to the previous highs that it had in the bull market. So ETH BTC was at a price of 8%, so 8.2% here. Then again at the final all-time high, it had a price of 8.8%. And then the merge hype peak was at a price of 8.56%. So now we're currently sitting at 7.7, broken through this first 50%. We bounced off another 50%. We've got a little bit of volume coming through here. We need to get back above that 8.2 now. The first target I was looking at was 7.6, as you'd note from the chart here, 7.6. We're there at this point. This is above these previous high levels and where the market has found resistance in the past. And so we're almost there. We need a little bit more confirmation at this level. And then those closes above that 8.2, 8.3, that really sets us up for a whole lot of strength earlier on in ETH, when in the past, ETH has generally been on a decline during this period in the market. So can we say this time is different? we could almost say this time is different because last year in 2021, October had a low and then 1-2 months up into the peak of December. This is ETH BTC value, remember, because Bitcoin was going on a decline, ETH was still finding some ground, and so ETH's value was higher than Bitcoin at that point in time. Now, we're potentially seeing a higher low form here on a 50% level. The previous low here in June was on a 50% level, so some good signs of strength there. Sure, this looks like a potential head and shoulders pattern. Shoulder, potential head here. But if we continue to find this support at higher lows, that would then eventually break higher and invalidate the head and shoulders pattern here. So I wouldn't even be worried about this so far. And this could be on a more bigger time frame, a cup and handle. Basically, this is your cup. Here is your handle. These generally break out to the upside and keep going. And so looking at this in terms of Octobers, every other year, apart from 2021, we had an October low here or a down month, and then it dumped into December. October, dump into December, January. October, dump into December. We had October again, this big red month, dump into December. October again, dump into December. Took a little while to take off, but then shot up. And then the last one here, October, nothing happened until about January. So yeah, October, November, December. And so we could almost say this time is different, but we are starting to see some turns at these levels. Last year, we had something different, got into a peak, and it just happened a little bit later than we had, than the market had said in the past. If I had to put money on it, which is what we do, then I would look to the upside from this point. The beauty about it is you can have stops under these levels if you are unsure of what's happening next. This would be your key level to say, all right, probably not going to get those moves up and the market's coming back. That's the beauty about getting in early, but you just got to take that risk to the upside. This is no doubt going to be a very pivotal play for Ethereum at this point. If it does break above these levels of around 8.5, it is going to signal some big moves for ETH coming up in 2023. If not against the USD value, against its BTC value. And you can see the major 50% level here is at 8.7, 8.6%. This is the all-time high to the cycle low. That is going to be a very, very, very big pivotal level for ETH to get above and close above. If that happens, ETH has the strength for the foreseeable future against the BTC value. So don't go anywhere. As much as this market might get quiet and boring, whatever, this is looking very, very interesting for ETH. Last reminder, like, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button, click it, tap it, whatever you do. YouTube makes us, it's lemmings. That's what we've got to do here. And the top of the video description, that Google form there if you want to join us for our free trading seminar. Guys, appreciate your attention and support on the channel. Let me know in the comments down below, is ETH going to outperform Bitcoin in the next bull market cycle? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear from you. Until next time, peace out.